So it is 9 o'clock now, and I want to thank you all for joining us and say welcome. My name is Marianela Franklin. I am the UTRGV Chief Sustainability Officer. And on behalf of the Office for Sustainability and the UTRGV School of Earth, Environmental, and Marine Sciences, we want to welcome you to Earth Fest. This is our last day of Earth Fest, and we are really excited. We want to wish you a very happy Earth Week, a very happy Earth Month, a very happy Earth Year, because we should be celebrating Earth Day every day, as far as we're concerned. And I do want to start off by sharing that we're going to be looking at several presentations from faculty and students. We want to cover the Sustainable Development Goal number 7, which is affordable and clean energy. I did share a few minutes ago that we covered several Sustainable Development Goals over the entire week. We align sustainability with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and there are 5 specific goals that are goals to protect our environment, to protect our natural resources, to protect our planet. And so we designed our Earth Week this week to really have discussions and have presentations regarding those 5 goals. So Monday we covered water, Tuesday we covered life on land and biodiversity. Wednesday we covered life below water. Yesterday, Thursday, we covered climate action, which was specifically Earth Day. And today we're covering affordable and clean energy. So we're going to begin with a real quick video that kind of shares what that specific sustainable development goal is about. What are the targets? What can we do to really help in the aspect of and the impact of affordable and clean energy on a global level. And then we're going to talk about it on a regional level with the presentations we're getting ready to see after this. So I'm going to ask Davey if he could please help us out and run this video. Thank you.
Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Did you know that until 1850, cooking was done by scrubbing 2 stones together? It's not that long ago. Nowadays, we can't imagine our daily lives without electricity, but more than 1.2 billion people live without it, most of them in Africa and Asia. Without electricity, clinics can't work, students can't study, and entrepreneurs can't direct their competitive companies. We can all contribute at our own scale, saving electricity and aiming for energetic, renewable resources, adopting technologies, infrastructures, and non-polluting transports. We should all learn from Sam Goldman and Ned Tozen. They are 32 years old, they're from San Francisco, and their project has helped more than 30 million people in 60 countries. Their solar lamps give 12 hours of light without using polluting and dangerous kerosene, and they save up money as well as reduce the risk of fires. It's accessible, clean, mobile energy for homes. Are you aware of all the possibilities you have of contributing by saving energy? 1. Connect devices to power strips to disconnect all their activity. Cover the pots when cooking and you'll reduce up to 75% of energy. Read the instructions of household appliances to maximize their performance and energetic efficiency. 2. Conduct an energy counseling at home. A little investment will allow you some savings in your bills and mostly a reduction of your consumption. 3. Save energy also in transport. Public transport saves 4 times more energy than the car, and the savings you can achieve by walking or going by bike are 100%. 4. In winter, try to have an efficient heating system at home. Remove furniture and objects that block radiators, revise the boiler, and remember that every extra degree means a 7% increase of consumption. 5. Inform yourself of renewable energy uses, share your knowledge, and support sustainable energy projects for schools and houses. Use your energy. Use your power.
we do have, although you didn't get to see the video, we do have a wonderful presentation from a group of students that are a new club, a new group that was formed at the Math and Science Academy of UTRGV. Now, for those of you who don't know or are not familiar with the Math and Science Academy, these are students, these are high school students that are dually enrolled with UTRGV. And last semester, they came to us and asked if there was a way that they could incorporate and bring sustainability to the Math and Science Academy, and they formed the Ambassadors for Sustainability Club. And so they've done a wonderful job. There's about 15 students who came together and decided that what they wanted to do was to map out the Sustainable Development Goals in the Rio Grande Valley. And so today we have Mike Panuelos and Thomas Saenz, who worked on the specific goal number 7 on affordable and clean energy. And they're going to share with you some of the projects that they found. What they're trying to do is highlight just how much sustainable development is happening here in the Rio Grande Valley. And so at the end of next semester, when all the goals have been covered and they've collected all their data, the plan is to set up a map, an interactive map on the website where you can find all this information. So I'm going to ask all our viewers today that you pay close attention to the information they provide, because if you happen to have information they may have missed, we want you to contact us and provide it, because this is an ongoing effort. So that map is going to grow as the Rio Grande Valley grows and all the sustainable development that occurs in the Rio Grande Valley starts to spread. We want to make sure that interactive map has all that information. It's going to be a very valuable resource for individuals who are doing research or service learning projects or community engagement, because now you're going to be able to see all those organizations, agencies, all those businesses that already are implementing sustainability within these different sustainable development goals. So Davey, if you can please share Mike and Thomas's video presentation, I'd appreciate it. And then I'd like to invite Miss Melissa Peña, who is the director for the Math and Science Ambassadors for Sustainability. I'd like to invite her to maybe say a few words after the presentation. So Davey, please share the video. Thank you.
The Rio Grande Valley's efforts in ensuring access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy, presented by Mike Panuelos
and Thomas Saenz. Sustainable Development Goal number 7. So according to the United Nations Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goal number 7, there are 5 targets to hit by 2030. Now, starting off with the first target, by 2030, we should ensure universal access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy services. The second target by 2030 is to increase substantially the share of renewable energy in the global energy mix. This means to basically increase the percentage that clean energy makes up when it comes to the global energy mix, which means increasing the amount of clean energy. The third target is to double the global rate of improvement in energy efficiency. This means making solar panels and wind turbines more efficient and better able to harness energy from the sun and the wind, which would produce more clean energy. The fourth target is to promote access to research, technology, and investments in clean energy. By promoting access to all of these things, people would be able to implement clean energy in their everyday lives by, for example, switching their homes to solar or things like that. The fifth target is to expand and upgrade energy infrastructure for developing countries. This goal is for the whole world. So it's important that developing countries, when developing their energy infrastructure, also develop clean energy infrastructure.
Our mission statement. With a concern of unreliable, unsustainable, and harmful energy solutions such as fossil fuels, coal, and oil that harm the earth and its people, goal number 7 of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Goals hopes to increase easier access to energy that is reliable, affordable, and sustainable for all by the year 2030. This presentation showcases the efforts of businesses, companies, and people within the Rio Grande Valley in Texas in achieving goal number 7, the wind farms and solar panels. Wind farms in the valley. The San Roman wind farm is made up of 31 wind turbines and produces a total of 93 megawatts of clean energy per year, which is enough to power 30,000 homes. The Los Mirasoles wind farm is composed of 2 wind farms, Hidalgo Wind Farm 1 and 2, and is made up of 125 wind turbines that produces a total of 250 megawatts of clean energy per year, which is enough to power around 89,000 homes. The Cameron Wind Farm is made up of 55 turbines and produces a total of 165 megawatts of clean energy per year, which is enough to power 59,000 homes. The Los Vientos 1 and 2 wind farms combined is made up of 171 wind turbines and produces a total of 405 megawatts of energy per year, which is enough to power around 120,000 homes. The Los Vientos 3, 4, and 5 wind farms combined
Grammarly can help you write quickly and confidently, so you never have to slow down at work. Stay on top of emails.
Megawatts per year, which is enough to power around 170.
Have you ever wondered how much energy it takes to power all the cities on Earth, or where that energy comes from?
112 wind turbines.
I'm sorry for that interruption, guys, but we're hearing 2 videos at the same time. Can we go back to the video for the students, for the sustainability ambassadors? Thank you.
To power around 40,000 homes. The TSTC wind turbines can be found between TSTC and the Valley International Airport in Harlingen, Texas, at a parking lot. There are a total of 13 non-commercial wind turbines, and their combined energy output is currently unknown.
Solar farm, now moving into solar farms and rooftop solar panels in the valley. So our first example is one of the most popular examples in the valley and is the new SpaceX solar farm. So the new SpaceX solar farm is located at the SpaceX Launch Control Center in Boca Chica Beach, which is in Brownsville. Now, while most details about this solar farm aren't concrete, we know that this solar farm produces around 638 kilowatts of energy and is able to cover the needs of the Launch Control Center. The next solar farm is the McAllen Ranch Solar Farm. So the McAllen Ranch Solar Farm is located in the historical McAllen Ranch, which is in Edinburgh, Texas, and is owned by the Los Faroles. This solar farm is operated by the local Magic Valley Electric Company, meaning that though the Los Faroles own it, the Magic Valley Electric Company is the ones that takes the energy and sells it into their grid. So the total amount of energy produced at this site could power about 150 homes, and it's most efficient during the afternoon. Now for a third solar panel array, we're looking at the HEB Distribution Center rooftop solar panel array. So this rooftop solar panel array is located in Weslaco, Texas on the HEB Distribution Center roof. Now this solar panel array has about 3,000 solar panels, which covers 105,000 square feet, making it one of the largest rooftop solar arrays in the state of Texas. Now this massive rooftop solar array produces 1.2 megawatts of power, which can supply about 45 to 55% of the distribution center's electrical needs. Or if it wasn't used for the distribution center, it would be able to power about 3,000 homes. So our next rooftop solar panel array is the UTRGV Engineering Rooftop Solar Panel Array. So this rooftop solar panel array is located on top of the UTRGV Edinburgh Engineering Building. So this solar panel array produces about 10 kilowatts of solar energy. Now, that may not seem like a lot, but these solar panels are mostly used for educational and research purposes. The next solar panel array is the TSTC University Center Rooftop Solar Panel Array. So in this solar panel array, it has about 450 solar panels on top of the University Center rooftop. Now, the exact amount of energy production for this solar panel array is unknown. However, we are able to know that it's mostly used for research and educational purposes.
And that concludes our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mike and Thomas, and I apologize for the interruption in the presentation. We will make sure that within the recording, we will fix that segment so that it is clear. At this time, I'd like to ask, I don't know if Mike or Thomas are with us. I know that Melissa Peña, the director for the Math and Science Academy Ambassadors, is with us. So if we can unmute them so that maybe they can give us a few words if there's anything they'd like to add to the presentation, was wonderful. Thank you. So Davey, can we unmute Melissa? I think she is in the audience. I do see her as part of our participants.
She's unmuted now.
Okay. Melissa, was there anything you'd like to add? Good morning.
Hi. No, of course. Thank you, Ms. Franklin. I do want to add just, all the efforts our MSA students did, as Ms. Franklin said, a lot of students, we had some students that were interested in doing research within this area, and Ms. Franklin was willing to guide them in this process. So they've worked hard this semester and continue to do so to be able to create that end result that we're looking for. So I, along with Ms. Franklin, guide the students in what they are doing, and this whole research process. So we're super excited for them and everything that they've done to be able to, as we see that we're almost getting closer to our goal and mapping out the map. Now I know Mike and Thomas are seniors, so they won't be with us as we continue next year. But at the same time, we have our juniors that will be able to continue what our end goal is. So just kudos to Ms. Franklin. I know, Ms. Franklin, it takes time out of your schedule as well to guide our students and help our students in this research and being able to execute such program that is fairly new to our academy. We've never done this before. So I do help with the advising and seeing what the students need in that process. So thank you to Ms. Franklin as well for guiding our students through this process. But kudos to our students. I know it takes time out of the regular day. Our students are taking anywhere between 12 to 18 credit hours. And, on top of doing research, we're happy to see their end results and being able to be committed to such program and continuing their research.
Oh, thank you, Melissa, because I want to say it is my pleasure. It is no work at all for me. They're doing all the work. I just enjoy meeting with them and having the conversations about some of the obstacles that they face and the resources that we can provide to help them as they move forward with their research. And they're doing an incredible job. Like I said, this is going to be a valuable resource for everyone here in the entire region, not just our own campus, but everyone in the region will be able to use this information as we move forward with sustainable development. So thank you so much. We're going to move on with our program, and we do want to share with you a quick video that talks about the rise of solar power. And again, this is looking at it at a global perspective. And as we move forward, we'll start to bring it in and talk about renewable energy within our own region. So Davey, if you could share this video, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Even Greenpeace underestimated the rise of solar. When one of the world's largest environmental advocacy groups released an optimistic industry analysis called the Energy Revolution in 2010, it was far more ambitious than any government predictions. And it still got it wrong. Greenpeace estimated that by 2020, the world would have 335,000 megawatts of installed solar photovoltaic capacity. That's enough to power almost 64 million US homes and an increase of over 700% from 2010. But by the end of 2018, there were already over 480,000 megawatts installed globally, enough to power about 91 million homes. Elon Musk promised the world Tesla solar roof tiles in 2016, something the company has yet to fully deliver on. But it turns out the solar industry may not need the upgrade. While the aesthetic of solar tiles that look indistinguishable from normal roofing material is alluring, the industry has been growing exponentially thanks to plain old solar panels. You can see the evidence both on people's rooftops and in the desert, where utility-scale solar plants are increasingly popping up. Here in the US, of all new power capacity added to the grid in 2018, about 30% of that was from solar.
Solar in America has gone from this sort of fringe and very expensive technology to what is effectively now mainstream when it comes to new generation.
And states like California are leading the way, with bold solar targets, incentives, and regulations.
Every new home built in California after the new year must generate as much energy as it consumes. So presumably by making the homes very efficient and installing solar.
But the picture is not all rosy. Solar power is intermittent. The sun isn't always shining, and the price of storage solutions like lithium-ion batteries is still relatively high. Installing solar can be a large upfront cost, and permitting can slow the whole process down. These are real problems that the industry needs to tackle if solar is going to reach its potential. But if the recent past is any indication, solar power is going to help lead the transition to a carbon-free future, and it might do it faster than we all expected. In 2018, solar power made up around 2.3% of electricity generation here in the US. That number may seem small, but it's an impressive leap from 2008, when solar comprised a mere 0.1% of our electricity.
Across the country, in utility after utility, what's become fringe is the idea that you might build another coal plant, right? No one is really doing that today.
The surge in solar installations has been driven by a steep decrease in the price of photovoltaics, the technology that powers solar panels for both residential and utility scale use. Since the 1970s, costs have dropped tremendously.
Back then, solar on the ground was about $5 a watt, so 50 cents or more per kilowatt hour. And solar is down now today in the best large commercial applications at 1 to 2 cents, so a factor of 50 reduction. And on rooftop systems, if you finance it right and you're in a good location, your effective cost can be under 10 cents.
It does still cost a lot to get solar. According to Energy Sage, an online solar financing marketplace, the average rooftop panel system in the US cost about $12,500 after tax credits in 2019. But after about 7 to 8 years of lower electricity bills, customers typically break even and start seeing significant savings. And to defray the upfront cost, customers can often get a solar loan or choose to lease the panels instead. Overall, the massive price drop for photovoltaics is largely thanks to China's massively subsidized solar power manufacturing program, which created a worldwide glut in solar panels in the late 2000s. Prices plummeted, and solar companies around the world had to find ways to slash costs to stay afloat. Lots of companies went under, but enough innovated and survived such that in many parts of the country today, solar can now compete on economics alone.
So solar went from essentially the most expensive form to one of the cheapest.
It may be affordable, but it's not perfect. Solar panels don't generate any power during the nighttime, and they're much less effective in cloudy or shady environments. And while the price of photovoltaic panels has dropped, the cost of energy storage options like lithium-ion batteries is still pretty high. For example, the newest Tesla Powerwall, one of the few small-scale batteries meant for residential energy storage, is priced at $7,600, not including thousands of dollars in installation costs. So while panels often generate excess power during the day, there's not always an efficient way to save that energy for later, and so customers often end up relying on non-renewable energy sources at night.
Energy storage is sort of the last puzzle piece to come together to make solar and wind, any intermittent source, a reality for 100% of our power needs.
Furthermore, permitting for rooftop solar takes time and money, and depending on where you live, installing solar on either a residential or commercial scale can still involve a large upfront cost, especially if your state or bank doesn't provide solar-friendly financing options.
Solar installations require that to be permitted. Whether you can do it all remotely or whether you need a building inspector to come out to your home, All of those add costs, add time, add delays, which all make the effective price, if the policy environment is in favoring solar, often a real challenge to get large amounts of it deployed on the residential side.
You'll also almost never see solar on apartments or office buildings because landlords just don't have a monetary incentive to install them for renters who pay their own electricity bills. As for single-family detached homes, about 2% have solar. And while this actually represents a market improvement, it still means residential solar is a relatively rare sight. But experts say it won't stay this way for long.
In California, we have a mandate to have 1 million solar rooftops by the end of 2020. We've already met that goal. We're over 1 million rooftops now and still growing.
Even if you haven't noticed the rise in solar roofs, visit the deserts or plains of California, North Carolina, or Arizona, and you'll see that a large percentage of new solar capacity comes from utility-scale plants producing hundreds of megawatts of electricity that feed into the grid. One such plant is the California Flats Solar Project, a 280-megawatt solar farm developed by First Solar and located in Monterey County, California.
The California Flats project is about 2,900 acres. That's the carbon equivalent of taking about 22,000 cars off the road and can power about 116,000 California homes.
In 2018, utility-scale projects like this generated a total of 66.6 million megawatt-hours of energy in the U.S. That's enough to power about 6.4 million homes for a year and represents 69% of the country's total solar energy production.
So large-scale solar projects can be anything from a 200 kilowatt system that you might see on the edge of a trailer park or a 400 megawatt project in the desert.
However, plants on the scale of Cal Flats are increasingly proving to be the most cost-effective size for utility-scale operation.
When you get to 200 megawatts in size, you're able to take advantage of scale economies, so you can deliver a really cost-effective price of solar power. But when you start getting to larger sizes, sometimes it's difficult to find suitable land, to find suitable transmission capacity.
So I think you'll see probably a larger number of mid-size utility scale installations that are more strategically located closer to the load where the power is being used.
The rise of mid-size installations is also being driven by a growing corporate commitment to renewable energy. In 2018, corporations overall more than doubled the amount of clean energy they bought in 2017.
In 2018, Facebook alone signed contracts for around 2.4 gigawatts of renewable energy, which is more solar energy than the entire residential solar market in the US combined.
This kind of corporate buy-in is ultimately necessary for a carbon-free future.
About 2/3 of power is consumed by businesses. So even if everybody went renewable, if all houses went renewable, you'd still only get 1/3 of the way there.
Cal Flats has a corporate partnership with Apple, which buys 130 megawatts of energy from the facility to power its California operations. The other 150 megawatts are sold to PG&E, which then combines this solar power with its other energy sources. Customers receive this blended power by default, but can opt into a program that allows them to receive more of their power from solar or other renewable energy sources.
Many people live in cities or may not have access to a rooftop where they could install a solar system. So it's important that we have utility scale projects to help really create lots of opportunity for lots of different types of customers to be able to get solar power.
However, these utility scale plants cannot achieve their full potential without energy storage. To compete with the reliability of fossil fuels, solar farms need to be able to generate energy on demand, not just when the sun is shining.
When I've got systems out in the desert and a cloud goes overhead, we want enough of a shock absorber in the system in the form of batteries to help cover that power that's missing momentarily. It could be for a minute, it could be for 4 hours.
Traditionally, storage has come in the form of lithium-ion batteries, and luckily, the price for this tech is plummeting alongside the cost of solar panels. According to Bloomberg New Energy Finance, the average cost for lithium-ion batteries fell 85% from 2010 to 2018. Now, the average lithium-ion battery costs $176 per kilowatt hour.
So you can draw lines very easily in every part of the country, part of the world, to say, okay, is a solar plus storage system today cost competitive with this natural gas alternative? You can draw a line pretty quickly and see where those two are going to cross for every geography.
In some places, BB says solar plus storage has already won out.
Today, in places like Hawaii and in California, solar plus storage, in most cases, is more cost effective than a natural gas contract. In other words, those developers are winning bids, solar plus storage versus natural gas.
Solar power with storage is now often more economical than a type of power plant known as a peaker, which operates infrequently, only firing when demand is high. In April 2019, the utility company Southern California Edison opted for a solar plant with an 100 megawatt battery over a natural gas peaker plant in the coastal city of Oxnard. If regulators approve the plans, it would be tied with Tesla for the largest lithium-ion battery in the world when it goes online in 2020. But unfortunately, lithium-ion may not be able to get that much cheaper. Many experts predict that costs will bottom out at around $70 to $100 per kilowatt hour. At this price, batteries will continue to be an economical option for replacing peaker plants and smoothing out hours-long gaps in solar production. But they won't be a good option for storing energy for weeks or months on end, as this would massively increase electricity costs for consumers.
Some people think lithium-ion is the ultimate, and the path forward is to research heavily for improvements to lithium-ion. Then there are others, and I count myself in the others camp, where I say lithium-ion has done remarkable things for technology, but let's go to something far better.
So researchers like Sadoway are exploring new horizons.
Now we're seeing flow batteries, which are liquid batteries. We're seeing high temperature nickel metal hydride batteries, and we're seeing other forms of storage that are not chemical or battery-based storage ramping up their use as well.
For example, Bill Gates' Investors Fund, Breakthrough Energy Ventures, is backing the development of longer duration liquid batteries that would ideally be 1/5 the price of lithium-ion. And researchers at Sandia National Labs are experimenting with molten salt thermal energy storage. This non-battery-based system uses concentrated sunlight to heat up molten salt, which is then stored in tanks for up to several days and later converted into steam to power a turbine.
So that power production is the exact same as a coal-fired power plant, except instead of burning coal, we're using concentrated sunlight as our heat source.
As for residential solar, the grid itself often acts as a battery. This is because most states have net metering policies that allow customers to sell their excess energy back to the grid in exchange for energy credits, which they can then use to power their home when the sun isn't shining. But whether storage comes in the form of cheaper lithium-ion or newer experimental technologies, Cayman says that government policies and incentives will need to drive adoption, just like they did for solar panels themselves.
Right now, the California utilities are operating under what's called the storage mandate. They are required by 2020 to have enough storage on board so that they can meet 2% of their peak demand. And we're negotiating right now with the state's Public Utilities Commission to increase that number. When we get to roughly 20% of our peak demand available in storage, we will be able to run a renewable-only system because the mix of solar and wind, geothermal, biomass, all backed up with storage, will be enough to carry us through even some of these potentially long lulls.
In the meantime, expect to see solar installations continue to rise as prices fall and incentives and regulations spur development.
What we know is that utility after utility is now sourcing wind and solar instead of sourcing coal and natural gas. 5 years from now, it will be a little bit odd to see new homes that don't have solar on the roof. It'll just become part of the landscape. At the end of the day, this is an inexorable march toward a transition to a zero carbon economy.
So thank you for staying with us and watching this very informational video. We wanted to share with you what is happening in the world of solar. And we chose this video because it really does give a wide range of explanations, and historical data of how far solar has come from the 1970s to today, as far as technology and cost and all the things that we're looking at now in terms of technology to improve its effectiveness and efficiency. And today you will be hearing from one of our sustainability fellows and her advisor. They will be presenting later this morning. And they're going to share with you something that they're working on, research that they're actually working on. And our Sustainability Fellow will be presenting again on Thursday. And we hope that you will join us for that recognition and reception of those fellows who are ending their fellowship this semester. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit when we introduce her. We do not have Mr. Tracy Deadman with us this morning. He was unable to join us. And he is the Regional Operations Manager for RWE Renewables for the Magic Valley Wind Farm. He's an incredible partner with the university. Before COVID, we have had many, many visits in years past to the wind farm, the Magic Valley Wind Farm in Raymondville, with several programs where we've taken students for tours, as well as faculty and community members have been there for tours of this wind farm. And he gives a wonderful presentation on what is happening in the world of wind and wind energy. So what I'm going to do, since he is not here with us today, we're going to share a short video. We're actually going to share two videos. One is a video about the San Roman wind farm, and the other is much like the video we just saw that tells us a little bit about how wind energy works and what is happening as far as the global level with reference to wind energy. So I'm going to ask Davey if he could share those two videos with us. I'm not sure, Davey, if you can tell which is which, if you can share maybe the San Roman video first. It's a shorter video, and then we can move forward with the next. Thank you, Davey.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I have the same name for both.
Okay, so if you can just share one, that's fine.
Okay.
So Davey, if you could share the other video with us. This was a very impressive video of the wind farm there in San Roman. And we, as you saw earlier in the presentation, that Mike Panuelos and Thomas Saenz had given. There's so many different locations, and it is still growing. I know that there's also another wind farm in Starr County that is going up, aside from one that's already there. And we have others that are also going up within Willacy County. So there's a lot of wind energy, renewable energy that is happening just here in the Rio Grande Valley, which is quite impressive. I was hoping that Mr. Tracy Deadman could join us because he has all those figures, and it's really impressive to hear those numbers when you're looking at all the wind energy that's being produced here within the Rio Grande Valley, and all the economic development that goes along with that, as well as all the jobs and job creations. I do want to say that Mr. Deadman also has given classes at TSTC because they do have a program for technicians who actually help build and maintain these wind turbines within the Rio Grande Valley. And I believe that STC has one as well. So, you know, this is, again, a component that is helping on the environmental scale reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. It's helping on the economic scale, and it's also helping us socially because it improves the quality of air within our region, not because of the wind turbine itself, but because of the reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. So I hope that you will enjoy this next video. Talks a little bit more about how the wind turbine works, and also a little bit about what's happening on the global level.
This episode of Real Engineering is brought to you by CuriosityStream. Sign up today and get free access to my new Logistics of D-Day series on Nebula. This year, the European Union announced an unprecedented €1 trillion Green Deal investment plan, with the goal of bringing the entirety of Europe's energy generation to 100% renewables by 2050, an ambitious goal that has been echoed throughout the world. It is, of course, possible to shift our energy generation from the current mix of fossil fuel generation, nuclear, and renewables to 100% renewables in just 30 years. The technologies exist. That €1 trillion can go a long way to achieving this goal. And in this new Real Engineering series, we are going to explore the type of projects this green energy plan will help fund. To give ourselves the best chance of achieving that goal, ham-fisted goodwill endeavours to increase renewable percentages need to be avoided. We discovered with previous investigations into California's move towards solar energy that without careful analysis, it is incredibly easy to waste millions upon millions of dollars on renewable energy resources when they are not properly integrated into the grid. California has to disconnect a huge portion of their solar panels from the grid in the summer months because there is no demand for the electricity they produce. The wasted power is continually rising as more and more solar panels are installed, with a record high curtailment of 190,000 megawatt hours wasted in April 2019. Enough to power 17,300 homes for an entire year. Wasted energy is wasted money. But what if I told you that this waste could have been avoided without the need for expensive energy storage? In this episode, we will explore the planned European supergrid. The primary reason California curtailed that sickening quantity of power last year was because its level of interconnectivity with its neighbouring states is dismally low. California has an opportunity. Its climate is ideal for solar generation, so much so that they produce more than they need. They have a few options on what to do with this. They could create new industries that could use that excess power, like water desalination or hydrogen generation plants. They could store the energy using pumped hydro or batteries so that they could use the solar power at night. Both of these options get a lot of attention, and we will explore them in future episodes in this series. However, today we're going to explore a method that would solve California's excess power problem at a fraction of the price. a simple but effective method to trade energy with its neighbours: grid interconnectors. Grid interconnectors are simple enough in principle. They are just large, high-voltage transmission cables that allow traditionally separate grid markets to trade energy with each other. The Californian government has so far resisted the prospect of joining a wider interconnected grid, as they would lose governance of their energy market. The new larger regional market would be under the control of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, whose commissioners are appointed by the president. It's not my place to comment on American politics. However, a number is now appearing on screen which corresponds to a highly detailed, unbiased paper in the reference list in the description. That paper will shed light on this complicated political and technological issue. Their primary concern is, however, that joining the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission will force them into propping up carbon-intensive energy sources like coal from other states. On the contrary, joining a regional market like this would allow California to export all of that excess solar power for a profit, while importing cheap excess wind power from states like Montana, Wyoming, and New Mexico, allowing California to reduce its dependence on natural gas power plants to pick up the slack on darker days and ultimately reduce the cost of electricity and move them closer to their green energy goals. Unity across borders will be essential to achieving the ambition of clean energy, and the European Union is in a strong position to be an example for the world on what this will look like. The continental European electricity grid is already the largest synchronous electricity grid in the world. This is the map of Europe's current cross-border interconnections. Each member state is constantly buying and selling energy to each other to manage their supply and demand. Denmark regularly produces excess wind, and instead of curtailing it, they will sell it to its neighbours like Norway, who take advantage of the cheap power to fill their pumped hydro reservoirs. They can later release the water and sell the electricity when demand is high. Interconnection like this creates a more diverse source of power, where different regions can benefit from their advantages in climate and geographic features. Norway, Sweden, and other mountainous regions can confidently invest in pumped hydro facilities, knowing that they will have a market to buy cheap electricity to fill them and a market to sell it at a higher price. Western regions of Europe can take advantage of the strong Atlantic winds. Iceland and Italy can increase investment in easily accessible geothermal power, while sunny southern regions can continue building cheap solar farms. You don't even necessarily need to send power over long distances, which can result in transmission power losses. If Spain is generating an excess of solar power, while Denmark is producing too little wind, France can act as an intermediary, buying cheap solar power from Spain and selling some of its own nuclear power to Denmark instead. This requires a common market and a high level of cooperation between members, but if it succeeds, it is estimated that a well-connected grid will save European customers between 12 and 40 billion euro annually by 2030, all the while reducing pollution from fossil fuels. It's clear that interconnectors can provide grid stability and reduce electricity prices, and so part of that €1 trillion green energy fund will be set towards strengthening the connectivity between member states and creating the European supergrid. For example, the Celtic interconnector, which will join Ireland's grid to the French grid, will receive €530 million in investment from the European Union, while the Irish and French grid providers will fund the remaining €470 million required to complete the connection. This interconnection will have a capacity of 700 megawatts and will be capable of powering 450,000 homes. The connection will allow Ireland to continue benefiting from its stormy position on the edge of the Atlantic by growing its wind portfolio and selling the excess wind energy to the continent, while also benefiting from France's nuclear and hydroelectric plants during calm days. This is just one of many interconnectors planned, and the European Union has stated a goal of a minimum of 10% interconnection for all member states by the end of 2020. That means that they must have interconnections capable of transporting 10% of their total electricity capacity at any time. Countries like Spain have been lagging behind but are gradually catching up. A new interconnection opened in 2015, tunneling through the Pyrenees Mountains for 8.7 kilometers. Another subsea connection crossing the Bay of Biscay is expected to become available by 2025. There are many more interconnections under construction, and this target level of interconnection will raise to 15% for 2030 and will continue raising over time. Eventually, this will grow into what is being dubbed the European supergrid, which could eventually grow to even include solar energy-rich North Africa. These developments may seem trivial, but they are critical first steps towards a cleaner future. Europe's energy market is undergoing a seismic shift. Oil pipelines and coal shipments are being replaced with grid interconnectors and wind turbines. With the ability to export excess renewable energy, countries are incentivized to continue growing their renewable portfolio as they can increase their exports and ultimately improve their economy. Our cities and countries are constantly undergoing change. In our short lifetimes, it's easy to think that technologies like fossil fuel power are here to stay, but they, just like the water wheel, will soon become archaic. We get a great perspective on the ephemeral nature of our technologies and societal norms by learning about the growth of ancient cities. My friend Dave from the City Beautiful YouTube channel recently released an amazing documentary detailing the rise of a city that spawned an empire, ancient Rome. This is one of many fantastic original series on Nebula, the streaming platform created by creators for creators. You can watch it and my new series, The Logistics of D-Day, where I discuss the logistical planning and engineering that made the largest amphibious assault in history possible. The cheapest and best way to gain access to these series is by signing up to CuriosityStream, who are now bundling Nebula with every sign-up for just $2.99 a month. For that $2.99 a month, you will get access to thousands.
I'm sorry, I needed to cut it off because they're just promoting their different things there at the end, which we as a university are not here to promote and endorse any of that. We just wanted the educational content for you all as to a different perspective of, you know, how wind energy is being, and renewable energy, you know, not just wind, but solar and other forms of renewable energy, renewable and clean energy are being looked at and used in different places throughout the world. And so we're going to move forward with our presentation and actually take a look at a solar installation here in the Rio Grande Valley. And again, as mentioned earlier, you did get to hear from Mike and from Thomas when they mentioned the distribution center that we have, the HEB distribution center that we have here in Weslaco. And with us today, we have JJ Serrano. I want to welcome JJ. He is the facility leader, facility director there at HEB, Weslaco Retail Support Center. And he is going to be sharing with us a little bit of information about this, you know, incredible journey that HEB is taking towards sustainability and how everything is working out for them with this wonderful installation. Again, they are incredible partners. We have toured their facility a couple of times with in different programs, and this has been just wonderful. I apologize. It looks like we're getting, can you all hear? I'm getting a phone call through Teams. I apologize for that. I hope it's not disrupting you. But JJ, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you can give your presentation, do I need to do anything, Davey? Can you all hear that phone call that's coming through? I think it stopped.
Yeah,
okay, good. I didn't want it to disrupt JJ's presentation. I'm sorry about that, JJ, but thank you for joining us. We really appreciate the partnership we have with you all. We really enjoy going and visiting, you know, of course, prior to COVID, and you all giving us a tour of the distribution center. And those solar arrays. It's so impressive to be up there and see all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianella. I'm really excited to be here today. You all hear me well? Everything's fine?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. So I'm assuming you all can see my slides. I'm excited to be here today. As Marianella mentioned, my name is JJ Serrano. I work for HEB, and I'm the facility leader for our Weslaco Retail Support Center campus. And I've got a lot to cover in terms of sustainability. So let's jump right into it. Most people would think of HEB and say they're a grocery company. Why would they care about sustainability? And quite honestly, the answer is extremely simple. It's honestly the right thing to do. And honestly, we are committed to improving the lives of our customers and the communities in Texas. This is part of our obligation to society and the world for future generations. Now, our goal is to bring all our sustainable and renewable efforts together in an effective way and invest in these efforts to become a leading force for a more sustainable future. We want our customers, as they shop, to say that they shop at HEB because they are the leader in taking care of Texas for my family and future generations. But the reality in Texas is not a good one. Recycling rates are pretty horrendous. We're the third lowest in the country, and we only have a finite number of landfills, and we have fears that those landfills will be filled by the year 2040. Population continues to grow, and we are having about 1,000 new Texans join us every single day. And the population in Texas is expected to double from the years 2015 to the year 2050. Climate change is obviously a severe impact to us. During the 2011 drought, Texas experienced more than 100 days of 100-degree temperature, causing $8.7 billion in agricultural losses. Now, obviously HEB is directly impacted there, and so are our customers. Those agricultural products are the things that we sell, and we want to be able to have those for our customers. The number of 100-degree temperature days has more than doubled over the past 40 years and could nearly double again by the year 2036. So HEB has created, a strong initiative to invest in sustainability. And we do have some notable achievements that I'm glad to share with you to date. So in general, we are a two-time winner of the state's highest environmental excellence award, the TCEQ award. We have built environmentally friendly stores. We have 9 HEB stores that have been awarded LEED, the Green Building Certification. And then we also have the only LEED Gold grocery store in Texas, which is our Austin 30 store. And it's one of a very few number of stores in the United States to receive that certification. We, since July of 2019, all of our new stores earned the Green Chill certification, meaning we build our refrigeration and our freezer systems with, of course, sustainability in mind. Food waste. In 2019, 47 million pounds of organics were composted from stores, with another 32.3 million pounds of food that were diverted and sent to food banks. That 32 million pounds of food could basically feed over 25 million meals. Now, that 47 million pounds of composted food came from just 35 of our stores. We do have a goal of all of our stores joining our organics diversion program by the year 2023. And what we're doing with that composted food is utilizing it for animal feed. From a water conservation perspective, all HEB car washes use reclaimed water, which basically, and we also save over 828,000 gallons of water each year by keeping our truck washes cycles below 5 minutes per wash. Now let's look at energy. We are the largest solar rooftop investors in the cities of Austin and San Antonio. We also have the largest rooftop solar investment in Texas under construction today at our super regional warehouse in San Antonio. That's a 1.6 million square footage facility, a huge one. And we're glad to obviously have solar panels going on top of it. We have 62 solar installations across our stores, warehouses, and administrative locations. And our existing solar and wind power purchase agreements will allow us to achieve 14% renewable energy utilization this year. We also are investing in energy efficient light fixtures, which will reduce energy use by over 21 million kilowatts per year. That's roughly about 10% of our annual usage. And this will be done by mid-2021. We are changing out approximately 23,000 light fixtures, and this is equivalent to eliminating the annual energy needs of 5 of our largest size stores. When you look at recycling, since 2004, HEV has collected and recycled 50 million pounds of plastic bags and film from our customers. We have these recycling containers at every single one of our the front of our stores. So as you guys use those plastic bags, please bring them back and recycle them. We'll make sure that they get to the right place for recycling. 57% company-wide recycling rate across all of our locations, and 527 million pounds of recyclables from stores, manufacturing, and work locations. We also operate 2 return goods centers that receive and sort recyclables from our stores and from our warehouse locations. We also think product sourcing is a big way to make sure we're taking care of the environment. We have an HEV seafood sustainability policy, and it's a partnership with the Environmental Defense Fund to source top quality seafood from socially and environmentally responsible fisheries and farms. We have our HEV animal welfare policy, and we are the largest cage-free seller of eggs in Texas. And then we have a very strong local sourcing policy, and we want to buy local. We want to buy things that are made in Texas, because if we buy local, we cut out a lot of the transportation that's needed, which minimizes emissions and things of that sort. From our transportation department, we've improved fleet fuel economy by 14% in the past 5 years by using new technologies and running engines at lower rotations per minute. And we reduced our use of diesel fuel by over 830,000 gallons each year, and carbon dioxide emissions by more than 8,300 tons annually. This is basically equivalent to removing almost 615,000 cars from the road for at least one day. Some public engagement achievements. We support many different companies and organizations out there. So we support over 75 environmental and conservation organizations throughout Texas and the United States. We support the University of Texas Plastics Research, as well as their Marine Science Institute. We've donated a research vessel to the Nature Conservancy of Texas to support its coastal restoration program in 2017. We've also donated a refrigerated trailer to house saplings over a 5-year replanting effort to restore the lost pine forest that happened after the Bastrop fires in 2013. We've also donated a water truck to assist urban tree planting in the city of Austin. And we support rural recycling with grants. It is difficult for some rural areas to recycle. So we also support them with grants in order to incentivize that process. And then we're a lead retailer funder, we are the lead retailer funding of habitat protection for bats, birds, oysters, and other endangered Texas species. So when you think about all those projects I just talked about, this is it in a nutshell, right? We believe that focusing on sustainability is extremely important, not only for our partners, which is our employees, but our customers and the communities we serve. It's the right thing to do for us today, as well as our future. So let's talk a little bit about Weslaco specific. We did have a first attempt when we opened up our doors in 2007 with a wind turbine. And it was a unique design. It was a funnel shape, so it wasn't your typical, windmill that you'll see or that you've seen earlier in today's presentation. But this was a unique design, and it was a test. And one thing that's positive about HEB is we're not afraid to test things and potentially fail at them, because we know we can ultimately come back and be better. And that first attempt didn't quite work. It was a wind turbine that was supposed to power our battery chargers. But because we believe in at first you don't succeed, try again, we made it a point to install at the time, the largest solar system in the state of Texas back in August 2015. Now it's obviously been outbeat since then, but it's very exciting to know that we had the largest solar system in the state of Texas at one point here in the Valley. And it had 3,000 solar panels, 37 inverters. It is self-sustaining, so when it rains, it basically cleans itself, right? And it's built to withstand Category 3 force winds, so 120 miles per hour. It was a $2.1 million investment with a return on investment of about 10 years. And we believe that this system will get us a lifespan of about 25 to 30 years. So this system produces about 40 to 55% of our annual usage. So it's about an estimated saving about $20,000 per month for about $240,000 per year. But more importantly, really what we're achieving is 7.5 million kilowatts produced in the last 6 years. That's 7,500 megawatts. The annual production can basically serve about 3,000 homes per year. So when you think about the last 6 years that we've had it in operation, we've been able to operate about 18,000 homes just from this one project on one roof. So there's a nice view of the campus. You have, of course, the warehouse on that top left, and you can see the solar panels that are installed on top. I'm hoping, I'm not the best tech guy, but I'm hoping this next video will work. So let's try it out so you can see some of our solar panels on the roof when we were installing.
It's just one big earth, and we're all the same heart. So much more than we believe we are. So much beauty to take in, a waterfall of love under the same sky. It's just one big earth, and we're all the same heart. So much more than we believe we are. So much beauty to take in, a waterfall of love, a waterfall of life.
All right, so I'm glad that worked, and I see that I've stopped sharing, so I think we're good to go.
Thank you so much, JJ. This is really impressive to see the entire story of sustainability. I really appreciate you bringing us all of this. I assumed you were just going to talk about the solar system, but to hear you talk about all the sustainability efforts that HEB is doing collectively, as a corporation, and then bring it home to what is happening here in the Rio Grande Valley. I do appreciate it very much. We're going to open it up for questions. So I would like to ask you all to please put your questions either in the chat box or in the Q&A box. And while you do that, JJ, is there anything else you'd like to share while those questions are coming in?
Oh, I think we definitely appreciate the partnership that we built with you, Marianela, and UTRGV. I know you first came out in 2019, and obviously 2020 couldn't have you come back out. But we're excited to continue, our focus on renewable energy, and I think we're in a good position here in the Valley to be able to have this here right in the center of it.
Thank you. We really appreciate that partnership because it is instrumental to our students and our community members who join us for these programs to help them learn about sustainability and what it looks like here within our own region so that they understand, what sustainability is, and that's something that as we celebrate Earth Fest, it's that interconnection of protecting our environment, our natural resources, and how doing that helps protect us as society and also protects our economy. So understanding those interconnections and making choices that really protect all three of the systems is what sustainability is about, that problem-solving approach of making sure that we're taking care of everything in a holistic level, and it looks like HEB is doing a wonderful job, and we're really excited about that. I see that we have one question. How can we as a region learn more about renewables? There isn't a wealth of information on local renewables currently. I don't know if you can add to that. I'm not sure who you all worked with as a corporation, to get this larger installation, very different from some of the residential installations, I assume. So if you have something to share on that.
The initial installation was through Solar City. It's since been purchased by Tesla. And, I think us as a region need to have more events like this and not obviously just do this during Earth Week, right? Or Earth Day, because it is important. And I think to the gentleman's question, I think, we do have a responsibility to share more about what each and every company is doing from a sustainability and a renewable energy perspective. And I'd love to see more collaborations between organizations and the municipalities in terms of getting that information out to the community.
Yes, thank you. He did make a comment that says these interconnecting solutions should be celebrated and showcased, and we hope that that's what we're doing today. We're trying to bring as much information to our campus and community about the solutions that are already here within our own region. It's not something that's that far-fetched. We're already doing that. And then we've invited our students and faculty to present on some of the solutions they're coming up with, which are actually quite innovative. And we're really excited to share some of those, throughout this week. So I think this completes our session, so we can move on to our other presentations. Again, I want to thank you, JJ, for joining us and sharing all this wonderful information. For those of you who have an interest in connecting with JJ for your programs or for research or for grants, because he did also indicate those type of opportunities, maybe he can provide more information as to how to go about connecting with those type of resources with HEB. So thank you again. Please, for those of you I didn't finish, please take a screenshot of this image. It has his contact information. And if you missed it, you can always contact our office and we'll get that for you. Thank you again, JJ. We really appreciate having you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate what you all are doing here. Great job.
Thank you. So the next presentation, and again, as I mentioned, we have some very talented faculty and students who are working on incredible research that helps contribute to this particular goal of clean and affordable energy. And one of those is our Sustainability Fellow, Mr. Erick Martinez, who just joined us last semester and will be with us for another semester or two until he completes his project. His advisor is Associate Professor from College of Engineering Computer Science within Mechanical Engineering, which is Dr. Jingsheng Zhang. And they are both with us today. We are going to listen to their presentation. So I'm going to ask Davey if he could please unmute them. And I believe we have a PowerPoint presentation that will be shared regarding their amazing work and the innovative research that they are working on within renewable energy. And this is one that maybe some of you may have not have thought of, because when we think of renewable energy, we automatically assume it's just wind turbines and solar panels. But Erick and Dr. Yang are here to talk to us a little bit about a different kind of renewable energy. So Erick, welcome, and Dr. Yang, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Right, good morning. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna be sharing my screen for my presentation.
Wonderful, thank you.
Right, so good morning, everyone. Like Ms. Franklin mentioned, I'm going to be presenting a little bit more about the little brother in comparison to wave energy, or to wind energy or to solar energy, which is wave energy. More specifically, the devices that are used to harvest that wave energy, which are known as wave energy converters, or WEC for shorter. So just a little background on myself. I'm currently working on my Master's of Science in Mechanical Engineering. I'm currently a graduate research assistant working under Dr. Yingchen Yang, and I am part of the Sustainability Fellowship. I am very enthusiastic about fluid dynamics, and more lately in wave energy converters due to my research, which I'm working on for my thesis and for the Sustainability Fellowship. So first of all, I think it is important to introduce what is wave energy. So wave energy can be defined as the work due to the motion of wind waves. Wind waves are simply denoted as waves that are generated by the motion of the wind that goes over the ocean surface. And as we know, waves are always going back and forth. Even if it goes to nighttime, even if the weather changes, they're always swaying in their motion. And however, they are not widely employed compared to solar or wind power currently. However, they do have a huge power density compared to both of those renewable energy sources, which might beg the question of why is it not as widely employed if it does have this high power density in comparison. So this is just a map to demonstrate the power density that is low depending on the location of the ocean. So as you can see, the highest values are both here at the very bottom of close to the South Pole, and on this northern area of the United States and of Canada, and most of Western Europe, which Western Europe is, I guess, the most the highest contributor to wave energy converter technologies currently. So how can we actually take this motion of the waves and then convert it into usable energy? So there's a lot of different types of wave energy converters. Some might heave back and forth, some might be rotating, some might be taking the water from the waves and then releasing it back through turbines. So there is a lot of different technology variants with difference in locations, whether they might be close to the shore, way offshore, or even the sizes, as well as the working principles, like I mentioned. And these are just some examples of different wave energy converter designs that have been considered in the past. And as a renewable energy source, it has a really high potential to be, I guess, a good competitor against solar or wind, because wave energy converters can harvest 90% of the time, compared to wind or solar, which can only harvest about 20 to 30% of the time. And this, combined with having a higher average power density, make it so that wave energy converters can be harvesting energy at a constant rate, at a higher rate as well. And as well, the good thing about wave energy is that we are very capable of easily predicting waves. And of course, they're always in motion, like I mentioned. So I have presented a table to compare solar, which here is presented as photovoltaic, wind, and wave energy. So as you can see, both solar and wind, they are already at a commercial stage, whereas wave energy is still at a pre-commercial stage. Unfortunately, we're still kind of in a race between different wave energy converter designs to figure out which one is going to be the main design that is going to take over any effort to establish it as a good renewable energy source. And as you can see, the power density, so for solar, it is about 1 kilowatt per meter squared. And this is at peak solar isolation. Wind, similarly, 1 kilowatt per meter squared at 12 meter per second wind. However, wave has 25 kilowatt per meter at San Francisco and annual power flux. So actually, wave energy is able to outdo, in terms of power density, both of these two combined and times 12, basically. And the other advantage that it has is that waves are highly predictable. Like I mentioned here at the bottom, it is a little difficult to predict accurately when there's going to be clouds or when there's going to be any blockages that are going to not allow the solar panels to perform to its highest capacity. Whereas for wave energy, we're able to predict day by day how these waves are going to be varying, as well as the variability. Solar, like mentioned in previous presentations, we're not able to harvest as much power during the nighttime or also when it is cloudy. Wind, it is also very variable, since it is sometimes very windy, sometimes there's not as much wind. And for waves, they are always happening 24/7. However, they are highly variable, and that's something that I'm going to discuss for the challenges of wave energy converters currently. So wave energy converter designs and technologies. So like I mentioned before, the biggest developer currently is Western Europe. And an issue that happens with wave energy converters, such as with any other type of technology before it is fully implemented, is that they are currently taking years just to develop and just to get a working prototype. And it takes even longer to be tested in an ocean setting. And like I mentioned, there are a lot of different technologies competing. So there is a lot of different, I guess, financial resources that are being put into different designs without one clear winner for everyone to be inputting their investments into. And here on the right, we have examples of just 3 different wave energy converter designs, which are very different in how they look and how they act. Which this one on the top, this is an attenuator, which is kind of like different links that are able to flex, and they are parallel to the wave motion. We have a point absorber, and we have a terminator, which goes perpendicular to a wave motion. And now, just to put into perspective, there might be thousands of wave energy converter designs and patents currently in the world. However, only about 25 have been taken long enough to actually be tested in natural waters. So this is only a small percentage of all the efforts and all the designs that have been proposed to wave energy converters. So this just put into perspective how few of them actually get tested in an ocean setting or in a wave farm setting. Now, like I mentioned, some of the advantages is that as long as there is a sun, there is going to be a wind because of wind is, I guess, a consequence of the solar pressure that is exerted onto our atmosphere. And as long as there is wind, there is going to be waves. The other advantages are that they're easy to predict. They have, like I mentioned, a high power density. They also have a high potential to create jobs and boost economy in coastline areas. Since coastline areas might be some of the most concerned with global warming, or due to them being the more at risk of if global warming keeps going at the rate that it's going, the sea levels are going to be rising and their areas are going to be the most affected by it. So of course the coastline areas would be very benefited by implementing wave energy farms broadly. And another advantage is that waves are actually losing very little energy along their course. So the location where they're put at actually just determines how high energy they're going to be harvesting. Since of course, since the waves are more powerful offshore, well, far away from the shore, there's more power generation there compared to onshore, where they might not be inputting as much power, but they will of course be dealing with, I guess, less dangerous environments. And some of the challenges faced currently by wave energy converters is that, of course, there's not enough financial support. In Western Europe, there is a lot of investment by the government that they're putting into developing wave energy converter technologies. However, here in the United States, it is not as common. And at the same time, wave energy converters are currently very costly to build, and they need expensive maintenance, at least with the currently proposed designs. And they have to design around a specific wave frequency due to the resonance principle. So, for example, similarly to when an opera singer breaks a glass with the sound of her voice, it is because the glass has a certain frequency, and they are only matching that glass's frequency with their voice, which makes it so that it vibrates and then it just cracks. So similarly, waves also have a certain frequency. And so current wave energy converter designs have to be developed with a natural frequency that is going to be only one wave frequency that might be common around that ocean area. So that when a wave with that certain frequency hits the wave energy converter, they're going to be outputting the highest amount of energy. But of course, the ocean is very variable. There is a lot of different waves with a lot of different parameters. So it is really difficult to have this resonant frequency be the baseline of most of your design. And of course, like I mentioned before, another challenge is the long development and testing time that it takes to develop these technologies. So what have we learned about wave energy converters, and what can we do now that we have, where do we go in terms of the technology advancement from here? So like we mentioned, just to summarize, the high power density is definitely commendable. They have a high capacity to boost the economy in coastline areas, and an easy to build, maintain wave energy converter that does not rely on the resonance principle might be the solution to many of the issues that wave energy converters currently face. And as well, government investment into wave energy converters, I believe, could also help boost their development worldwide. If the United States became a leader in wave energy converter development, such as Western Europe is currently doing. And that is all for now. If anybody has any questions and answers about the technologies or about the concepts, we will be gladly to address them.
Thank you so much, Eric. That was really impressive. And Dr. Yang, thank you for all the guidance and direction you've been giving Eric on his research project. We're gonna see if we have any Q&A. Dr. Yang, would you like to add anything to all the wonderful work that Eric has presented today?
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Franklin and the Sustainability Program to support Eric's research on this wave energy harvesting. One thing I want to add is that earlier speakers and as well as some videos have discussed the application of solar and wind energy. And for those two renewable energy sources, and they are already commercially available, and they have been broadly applied worldwide. Somehow, in comparison, for the wave energy, although Eric mentioned some, like say, thousands of designs, and also many of them have been explored in the industry, but somehow the overall, in terms of the wave energy harvesting, we are still in a very initial phase. Mm-hmm. So therefore, support from, like say, from sustainability program internally, as well as support from the local community also, would greatly help us in continuously making progress in this very initial approach. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yang. We're really excited to be working with you and Eric, because although, as you mentioned, wave energy conversion is not as well known as solar and wind. I think Eric has done a really good job of showcasing and educating us on how this could be another really big solution that could move forward in such a way that could be more viable source, and another great source of energy. And then the fact that the two of you are working on improving what is already there. I know that we don't have time for you to go into all the technical details of how you're actually studying something that is existing, and you're coming up with, you know, a more effective and efficient way of understanding and monitoring so that they can improve the technology of wave energy conversion as it is right now. So it's going to take things, you know, to a whole other level. And we are wishing both you and Erick much success, because I do believe that you're both headed in the right direction with your research. I think it's very, very incredible, very remarkable, and we hope to see you succeed in that area. So at this time, I don't see any questions, so I'm just going to ask Erick, is there anything else you would like to add before we go to our next presentation?
I guess just thank you for the opportunity to present on the topic, and just for the support throughout our research in wave energy converters. I think it has been a really good opportunity.
Thank you, Erick. We are very proud of you. You're doing a great job within your fellowship program. So keep up the good work, and we will see you again next week for our biweekly meetings where we go over all of this. Again, thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Yang, for joining us. We are going to move forward with our next presenters, which again are another Sustainability Fellow, Ms. Haimanti Majumder, and her advisor, Dr. Jassim Uddin. They're going to share the research that they are working on. But I want to share, before we do go into that, Ms. Haimanti Majumder actually won an award this year as the during the International Women's Day, as the International Female Graduate Student of the Year for the amazing research and work that she is conducting, and just, you know, the incredible work that our students, the talented students that we have here at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley is outstanding, and we get to hear from them today. And so I am going to ask Davey if he can unmute both Haimanti and Dr. Uddin, because they're going to be presenting to us today on a new innovative technology that they're working on within solar. And I'm not going to mention it myself. I'm going to let them provide all that detail so that you can see the excitement, why we're so excited about these projects. So welcome, Dr. Uddin, and welcome, Haimanti. Do we have a PowerPoint presentation or a video? I believe we have a video first, and then we'll hear from you. So if you can share that video, Davey, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello everyone. The topic I will discuss is sustainable three-dimensional fiber-shaped dye-sensitive solar cell, aligned with Sustainable Development Goal number 7, which is affordable and clean energy. I am Haimanti Majumder. I belong to Bangladesh, a small country, a South Asian country. In my childhood, people around me always used to tell me girls are not good for technical knowledge. They are not good with maths. I was an orphan, a stubborn one. I rolled up my sleeves, proving everyone wrong, became a chemical engineer. Now in UTRGV, I'm studying in Masters in Chemistry, working on renewable energy under the supervision of Dr. Jassim Uddin. The reason I chose renewable energy as my research, because the country I belong, still more than 30% of the population do not have access to power source. Being a chemical engineer, this is my contribution towards society. Now, introduction to solar cell. A solar cell is an energy harvesting technology that converts the energy of light directly into electricity by the photovoltaic effect. The operation of a solar cell requires three basic attributes: which are: a solar cell is made of two layers of silicon, which let electricity flow when exposed to sunlight. As protons enter the layers, they form electrons. When protons hit the layer of silicon, electron passes through the junction, generating electric current. Now the history of solar cell. In 1839, Edmond Becquerel first discovered the photovoltaic effort. On April 22nd, 1970, the first Earth Day was celebrated, where the scientists first discovered the impact of solar for environmental protection. In 1883, Charles Fritz created the first solar cell by creating selenium with a thin layer of gold, which had a very low efficiency, but still it was the first solar cell in America. In 1970, after the energy crisis in America, Congress declared the Solar Energy Research, Development and Demonstration Act of 1974. In 2018, solar generated about 1.5% of US electricity. Limitation of solar cell. The initial cost of installing solar cell is high. Solar energy storage is expensive, requires lots of space, high maintenance cost. Now we will discuss about introduction to dye-sensitized solar cell, which we will call DSSC. The actual DSSC contains 5 components: a coated with transparent conductive oxides, the semiconductor film, which is usually titanium dioxide, a sensitizer adsorbed onto the surface of the semiconductor, an electrolyte containing a redox mediator, a counter electrode capable of regenerating the redox mediator like platinum. Now, why should we use DSSC? Because it has low production cost and lower investment cost compared to the conventional photovoltaic technologies. Flexibility, it's lightweight, and less chance of pollution. Now we will discuss the methodology and result. The left picture here in this slide is the fabricated cell, which looks like a thin hair, but it's a complete fabricated cell which is capable of producing electricity. The right graph predicts the chances of producing electricity, which I will not explain it elaborately, but I have put the explanation in my research paper. Now, what is the sustainability in DSSC project? As we all know, DSSC meets 3 aspects of sustainability, which is economical, social, and environmental. If we talk about economical aspect of DSSC, we can see from the chart, the solar photovoltaic cost $0.038 per kilowatt hour, but cost per power watt for DSSC is still less, which will be around $0.010 per kilowatt hour. In 2019, the average price of electricity in Texas in 2019 is 11.67 cents per kilowatt hour. For Rio Grande Valley, the resident for the Rio Grande Valley, the price is $0.06, though it varies with the size of the system size. If the system is 11 to 17 kilowatt, the average cost will be $0.03 per kilowatt hour. And if it's 18 plus kilowatt, then the cost will be more or less the same. The main concept of my project, DSSC, that means dye-sensitized solar cell, is to reduce the average cost. Now we will talk about the environmental sustainability. From the chart, we will see the amount of carbon dioxide emission from different type of energy sources like coal, natural gas, petroleum. The gas power plant results in about 450 gram carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour electricity, but DSSC system with 20 years lifetime would result in between 19 to 47 gram carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour, which is pretty less than the usual gas power plant. In Texas, emission of carbon dioxide is 653 million metric ton in 2016, and only emission for electricity is about 124 MMT. Emission for solar PV is around 33.48 MMT, which is also 9.5 times less. After using DSSC, this amount can be reduced to 50%, which will be 16.74 MMT. Now we will talk about the social sustainability of DSSC. We can say if we implement DSSC, it will create new job market for mankind. It is said that in 2016, the wind energy industry directly employed over 100,000 full-time equivalent employees in a variety of capacities, including manufacturing, project development, construction, turbines installation, operation, and maintenance. It can be assumed that if DSSC can be implemented in industrial scale, many more people can have job and be economically benefited. We can also say it doesn't have any health hazard. Like the air and water pollution emitted by coal and natural gas plant is linked with breathing problem, neurological damage, heart attacks, cancer, and etc. It says it can cost 74.6 billion everywhere by people for only health issue. But we can assure this DSSC system will not have this kind of hazard, so it will be beneficial for society. No associate air pollution, which makes it sustainable for society. So to conclude the whole topic, we can say dye-sensitized solar cell is a new source which can be implemented in way cheaper cost than the conventional solar panel, more mobile and easily recyclable. In this research work, a novel photocatalyst is used, which is a sustainable solution in the application of solar cell and is more efficient than any other DSSC. The material used in this project are cost-friendly and do not have any carcinogenic impact on nature. It is showing good efficiency and solar light harvesting capacity, which make it a sustainable innovation of energy source. Now, I would like to thank Dr. Parvinder Grewal, Dr. M. Jassim Uddin, Graduate College, Marina Franklin, Office of Sustainability, my lab mates and family and friends. I have also put the references here, and thank you.
So I am told that Dr. Uddin and Haimanti were unable to join us this morning. I apologize. I thought they were with us, and this was why I was asking that their mics be unmuted. So we won't be able to take in any questions, but via this recording, I want to thank them because they are doing an amazing job of again, taking the technology of the current technology and moving forward with innovation that brings what we now know as solar power into a new mode, into something that is far more efficient and effective. And they're doing an incredible job with their research project. So congratulations to Dr. Uddin and Haimanti. They recently were able to test their dye-sensitized cell, and they went through many experiments in the lab, and it finally worked. And so they have a solution, and we're really proud of them because I'm sure they'll be talking to the Office of Commercialization and Technology here pretty soon with reference to a patent and all that that goes and follows that. So congratulations to you both. We're really excited for you. And Haimanti, we can't wait to hear your presentation again this Thursday. So with that, I believe this is the end of our session. And I'm sorry to say that because it's the end of our Earth Fest week. But before you leave, I did want to share with you a couple of quotes from throughout the week. This was one that grabbed our attention, and it talks about the future, and the future is up for grabs. It belongs to any and all who will take the risk and accept the responsibility of consciously creating the future they want. This is really important as we move forward with sustainability. I invite you all to please go check out UNSDG.org. This is where you can find the 17 goals for sustainable development. Our intent is to align with these goals and to try to look at how we can contribute. What can we do to actually come together and as partners try to solve some of these concerns? we have all these concerns. We're familiar with these concerns either directly or indirectly. So that gives us the ability to actually work together and solve them. So please pick the one that you're most passionate about and partner with someone who is like-minded so that we can start working together. These goals do revolve around sustainability and that application of systems thinking, holistic thinking, and it also allows you to understand the interconnection. This week, we looked at the 5 environmental goals, the goals that are there to protect our planet, our natural resources. But there's also goals that are specific to the economy and goals that are specific to society, because we are having issues of health and well-being. We are having issues of equality, but we can come together and take care of all of those. And remember, they affect each other. So if we are not protecting our planet, it obviously protects our economy. And when we're not protecting the economy, it's affecting society. When we hurt society, it affects the economy and affects the environment and vice versa. So that interconnection is what we call sustainability. Sustainability is a problem-solving approach. And once we understand that systemic thinking of, making choices that protect those 3 systems, then we're moving forward with sustainable development and creating innovation with sustainable solutions. So thank you all so much for joining us. And remember, it's not too late. Exercise your leadership. You are all leaders. At any given time, if someone is watching you, reading about you, or listening to you, or all of the above, and now with social media, they can do all 3 at the same time. And when you are exercising your leadership, when you are exercising that sustainability mindset, people tend to turn around and say, I want what she's having, because, she's just so passionate or he's just so happy and so positive. I want to follow that path. So exercise your leadership and look at sustainability as something positive, as having a positive lifestyle, a positive attitude that will allow you to reach out, and instead of pointing the finger at problems, saying, hey, let me help you with that, or hey, let me show you something, and share those experiences of the opportunity we have today. Yes, there are many problems, but those problems are all an opportunity to create that world that we really want to have. So thank you so much for joining us this week. I did insert this for those of you who are not from UTRGV and are not familiar with the strategic plan. We do have sustainable development as one of the key tools for our core priority, which is student success. So yes, this is a commitment we have, not just for our students and our campus, but also for our community. Thank you so much. I want to thank you all for your continued dedication, commitment, and support towards education for sustainable development. I want to thank all the attendees, all the presenters, all our community partners, and a special thank you to the School of Earth, Environmental, and Marine Sciences, who is a co-host with us on this particular event, and our partners at Staff Senate, Alumni Relations Office, and the Division of Research, Graduate Studies, and New Program Development, specifically our IT support, Mr. Davy Salazar, for helping us throughout the entire week with all these sessions. Thank you, Davy, for all your time and effort and commitment. A thank you to Hector Solis, who helped us setting all this up from the beginning. And then a thank you to all our sustainability fellows, those talented fellows that shared the wonderful work that they're doing, and the faculty advisors, as well as our Math and Science Academy ambassadors for sustainability, for sharing all the research that they've collected, all the data they've collected about sustainable development in the Rio Grande Valley. And finally, I want to thank our Office for Sustainability staff. I couldn't do this without all their dedication and support. The staff, the office assistants, the graduate assistants and interns, all this beautiful materials, graphic materials that you've seen are developed by our students. They also do an amazing job of putting all this out in social media, and as well as creating scripts for PSAs and podcasts. So we're really, really proud of all the students that work in our office for the amazing work that they do. Thank you all so much. We hope that you continue to have a wonderful and happy Earth Day, happy Earth Month, but also every day. We want you to celebrate Earth Day every day. So thank you once again. We're delighted to have you all throughout the week. If you missed anything, we will be posting those links to the videos, to the pre-recorded videos next week. So please give us a little time to get that all set up and posted. This concludes our Earth Fest, and I hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. And I hope to see you again in future events. So thank you once again, and we'll see you soon.